My name is Bruno Terkaly. I'm a DE here in the Bay Area. Been at Microsoft for about 7 years. Was a field engineer. I was the guy flying to the customer sites getting yelled at. But now I'm just getting yelled at by just big groups of people instead. And I'm here to talk to you about our kind of NoSQL offering. I had an event not long ago here with the PHP Java community. And what strikes me is the amount of diversity and technologies in this space now. There's just many approaches and many interesting kind of things driving this, like mobile and social, and all the kind of data out there being, user profiles and so on. So I'm going to talk to you about blobs and tables. This is kind of running in the Microsoft cloud. Probably a few people know that we call it Azure. It's one of my pet peeves. So I'll talk to you briefly about blobs and queues. Think of blobs as just like a file system on the cloud, a video, a Word doc, a zip, even a file that you want to index yourself for various reasons. And of course, tables, confusing term because it's not really a relational database. They're basically property bag, kind of dictionary-like objects that are available through HTTP using a REST interface. So they're architected that way, and they make it possible to kind of consume from all the mobile platforms. In fact, I do a talk on that, how to consume it from iOS, from Android, and from Windows Phone 7. Let's talk about blobs. You know what blob stands for? Large binary object. These can get up to a terabyte in size. They can be transactional, meaning you can upload chunks at a time and then roll back, roll forward. So if it stops halfway up, you could resume your stuff. They're globally accessible. You can put them on content delivery networks. And they can be cheaper than on-premise. In fact, a lot of people don't even use Azure for the hosting. They use it just for storage, which is a reasonable approach. It's very cost-effective to do that way. It's very simple, so perhaps it's maybe too simple for some uses. Tables are a little more complex. Ooh, I'm getting truncated at the bottom. So I think I know it's down there, but they're scalable, triply replicated, name-value pairs. They have a primary key and a row key, which determines how they get scaled across multiple storage nodes. So you could literally have billions of rows across thousands of servers, and terabytes of size. I wanted to point out, you can't see the disadvantage, and I think it's the disadvantage with everyone here tonight. There is no real standard. There is no traditional query language defined for these interfaces. In our world, it's either HTTP or the LINQ query language. Let's look at an example real quick. So we're using it internally for Bing and Facebook. Our goal is basically to distribute across all the different data centers. There's 6 of them across the world, 3 kind of geographies here. Thousands of applications, petabytes of data. Currently, we have, I think, 70. We're going to grow to 200 petabytes by 2012. And it's being used by Xbox, basically for telemetry data, for Connect, and also for saving games. It's used as a content delivery for Zune. You might have heard of that. And then, of course, Bing. We want to be able to take your tweets and your posts and having searchable in Bing within 15 seconds of your post. The way that works essentially is those posts end up as blobs on a disk, and we have various virtual machines that read these blobs, and with the help of a bunch of these machines, we use queues and tables. We scan the links, we go ahead and process them, classify them, and create tables out of them. These tables are effectively the index to these tweets and these status reports. From there, we create blobs from these tables, the Azure tables. These blobs, therefore, become read by Bing, and within 15 seconds, they are now indexed and searchable. So that's kind of a real-world example of how we use it today. It basically handles about 40,000 requests a second and about 3 billion requests per day. So I just wanted to conclude on one point here, that this stuff is REST-enabled. No support for SQL, which I think is the big challenge in this space for all the vendors. That's why this is called the SQL event. The strengths, you can go ahead and very large data sets are supported, triply replicated, automatically partitioned across multiple storage nodes. But the weakness is unfamiliar. Everyone's got a proprietary approach. There's very few tools out there. Microsoft, of course, has Visual Studio, and so those are the basic disadvantages. The thing I want to point out here is that they're REST enabled. So this is the way you would access tables, blobs, and queues using a RESTful interface. There is like the notion of security and the storage key that's hashed and can offer you safe access. I can take questions right after if it's okay. And I know I only got 5, which I'm not used to this lightning thing, so I'm trying to, probably going too fast. So that's it for now. We have time for questions?
So if I tweet anything, I can search it on Bing in 15 seconds? Is that what you're saying?
I guess, why don't you try it out? I don't know.
Okay, well, I was just wondering. I'm trying to